Scene script. Have you ever wondered what would happen if oxygen disappeared for 10 seconds? Oxygen. It's not just a simple gas, it's a lifeline, a catalyst, and a sustainer of life as we know it. This transparent, odorless, and tasteless gas makes up about 21% of the Earth's atmosphere. Yet its influence stretches far beyond its humble presence. Every breath you take, every move you make, oxygen is there, playing an integral role. It's the unseen partner in the dance of life. You inhale, drawing oxygen into your lungs. It then binds with the hemoglobin in your blood, hitching a ride to every cell in your body. There, it fuels the process of metabolism, turning food into energy and keeping you alive, active, and aware. But oxygen isn't just vital to our personal survival. It's also a key player in the grander scheme of things. It's the breath of life for every creature, from the tiniest microbe to the largest whale. It's the invisible thread that weaves the tapestry of biodiversity on our beautiful planet. And let's not forget its role in combustion. Oxygen is the spark that lights the flame. It's a crucial component in fire, powering everything from the humble campfire to the roaring engines of rockets. It's the driving force behind our civilization's progress, fueling industries and technologies that shape our modern world. The power of oxygen extends even further into the protective layer of our planet. The ozone layer, made up of 3 oxygen atoms bound together, shields us from the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays, preserving life on Earth. Now imagine a world where all this disappears in an instant. Let's explore that. Without oxygen, our world would change dramatically. Imagine for a moment a world where the air we breathe suddenly vanishes. Oxygen, the life-giving invisible force, disappears for a fleeting 10 seconds. What would happen? The immediate effects on human life would be profound and deeply unsettling. Our lungs, evolutionarily designed to extract oxygen from the air, would struggle with the sudden vacuum. Like fish out of water, we'd gasp, desperately trying to fill our lungs with a substance that is no longer there. The lack of oxygen would send our bodies into a state of panic, triggering an adrenaline rush as our survival instincts kick in. Our brains, the command center of our bodies, would feel the effects almost instantly. Oxygen fuels our brain cells, allowing them to communicate and control our bodies. Without it, our thinking would become sluggish, our vision would blur, and we would start to lose consciousness. After just a few seconds without oxygen, our brains would go into overdrive, trying to protect vital functions and preserve life. But it's not just us humans who would feel the effects. All animals, from the smallest insect to the largest whale, depend on oxygen for survival. Without it, the animal kingdom would also plunge into a state of chaos. Birds would plummet from the sky, fish would suffocate in the oceans, and the earth would fall eerily silent as the sounds of life abruptly cease. And plants, the silent producers of our world's oxygen, would also suffer. Although they can survive longer without oxygen, their respiration processes would be disrupted, leading to a temporary halt in growth. But that's not all. The lack of oxygen would affect more than just our ability to breathe. Beyond the immediate physiological effects, our world as we know it would undergo dramatic changes. But that is a story for another scene. For now, let's remember to appreciate every breath we take, for it is the oxygen in our lungs that connects us to the pulse of life on Earth. Imagine a world without fire. Seems like a strange thought, doesn't it? That's because fire is such a common part of our existence. From the simple act of lighting a candle to the large-scale operations of industries. And what's the common denominator in all these fires? Oxygen. Oxygen is the lifeblood of combustion, the process that gives birth to fire. Without oxygen, combustion simply cannot happen. Picture this: a matchstick struck against a matchbox. The friction generates heat, yes, but it's the oxygen in the air that reacts with the chemicals on the matchstick, creating a flame. No oxygen, no flame. Now let's expand that scenario. Imagine all the industries that rely on fire for their operations. From steel manufacturing to glass blowing, from power plants to bakeries. Without oxygen to fuel the fires, these industries would come to a grinding halt. Machinery would become useless, and production processes would be rendered impossible. And it's not just the big industries that would be affected. Think about your daily life. No more cooking on a gas stove, no more cozy fireplaces on chilly winter nights. Even the internal combustion engines that power most of our vehicles would be useless without oxygen. In essence, the world as we know it would change drastically. But it's not all doom and gloom. Without fire, many of the world's problems like forest fires, house fires, and even certain types of pollution would become things of the past. It would be a strange new world indeed. But it would come with its own set of challenges, as mankind would need to find new ways to generate heat, power our vehicles, and run our industries. So, no oxygen means no fire, but what about the Earth itself? Scene script. Without oxygen, the Earth would become a very different place. Imagine this: the Earth's crust, the solid outermost layer of our planet, is composed of a variety of elements. However, a significant part of it, about 46%, is oxygen. Yes, you heard it right. Our very ground beneath us is heavily reliant on this life-sustaining element. Now, what would happen if this oxygen just disappeared? Well, the Earth's crust wouldn't just sit idly by. It would undergo a massive catastrophic change. The oxygen in the crust combines with other elements to form various minerals. Minerals like quartz, feldspar, and mica, which constitute most of the Earth's crust, are all oxygen-based. Without oxygen, these minerals would no longer be stable. They would disintegrate, causing the Earth's crust to crumble. The soils, the mountains, the ocean floors, everything would simply start to fall apart. The very ground beneath our feet would turn into a crumbling mess, unable to support the structures and life it once did. Moreover, the oxygen in the Earth's crust also plays a vital role in the tectonic activity. It's involved in the creation of magma, which is produced when the crust melts under extreme pressure and temperature. Without oxygen, this process would be disrupted, potentially leading to a decrease in volcanic activity and earthquakes. So the Earth without oxygen would be a world falling into disarray. A world where the solid ground we take for granted would crumble away, where the familiar landscapes would disintegrate into dust. A world where the dynamic, ever-changing nature of our planet would come to a screeching halt. But it's not all doom and gloom. The absence of oxygen might also lead to fewer natural disasters like earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. It would be a quieter, albeit a more desolate world. So, a world without oxygen would be a crumbling, fireless, breathless place. But what's the silver lining here? Despite the chaos, there might be one benefit to a world without oxygen. Now that's something you wouldn't expect, right? But let's delve into this a bit. Without oxygen, the harmful ozone layer that shields us from the sun's deadly ultraviolet rays would disappear. This might sound terrifying at first, but remember, with no oxygen in the atmosphere, those harmful ultraviolet rays wouldn't be able to reach us. And here's where the silver lining comes in. Without these rays, the risk of skin cancer might drastically reduce. So, in a twisted turn of events, a world without oxygen could potentially lower the risk of one of the most common types of cancer. It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? So, while a world without oxygen would be catastrophic, it might have one surprising benefit. It goes to show, even in the most dire of circumstances, there can always be a glimmer of hope.